All right, guys, happy Wednesday, March 12th, coming to you feeling great, feeling excited, feeling grateful. We have a big day ahead. If you guys are in the area or if you're coming from out of the area, we're doing a database day here. We're having some fun, diving into our database. We're going to call some of our leads. We're going to get some appointments, and then we're going to follow up with another session on Friday. So if you have the ability to be here, be present, be in the moment, do that. I would love to see you. If you have not already RSVP'd for the Keep It Moving mixer, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Yeah, for some of you, it's going to be a drive, but I'll tell you what, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have food and we're going to have drinks and we're going to dance. And so all the things, one of our sponsors is on, the amazing Money Store Group. We're going to have a fun time. So if you don't have the link and you need the link, let me know and I'll give you the link, but I want to make sure everybody is there. So Nicole, really quick before we go on, Nicole, what's the quick contribution? You threw your hand up.
Did you just say there's going to be another data day on Friday?
No, it's appointment setting on Friday.
Okay.
So today is going to kind of work through our database. We're going to make some calls, but then on Friday, we're really going to dive into the appointment setting segment of this. So everything that we're going to be doing, these are sales activities. We're going to have some fun, bring the community together. But yeah, it's on the calendar, all of the upcoming training. So let's get right into this. Before I get into my opening sentiments for the morning, I'm going to have somebody bring us out on the field as always in true Keep It Moving fashion. And that person is going to be Jamie. Jamie Thomas. First off, I want to congratulate Jamie. So Jamie just earned her spot for her first time at Hustler's Lunch. So we're going to be going out to the Hideout Kitchen in Lafayette next week, celebrating all of our hustlers, having some food, breaking bread, and celebrating our accomplishments. So Jamie, I'm really excited for you, stoked for you, happy for your success. Share with us your sentiment as you take the group out on the field on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Let's go.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to say good morning. Happy Wednesday. I want to say this: get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's been my word for this last week, because this is not easy, but it's doable. So let's just do something every day. So every day, just do a little bit of something, it'll get to something. So I had to ask myself, what are you working on today? And I was sitting there scrolling through TikTok. I was saying, oh, I'm not doing nothing. So let's work on something. So that's my sentiment for today. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
That's right. And Jamie, congratulations making it in a Hustler's Lunch. Not everyone gets to that table because not everyone tracks their shit. Now, the people that do track their shit, we score them based on who was number one in every single category. And Kelly is going, Jay is going, Jamie's going, and a few other people. So I'm really, really excited to see some new faces at Hustler's Lunch. But Kelly has been at every single Hustler's Lunch for the last, I don't know, 5 or 6. She's just on, she got an award for as many Hustler's Lunch that she's been to. So let's get right into the sentiment. I'm going to say thank you to Lisa Torres. So Lisa Torres sent me a message yesterday on Instagram. And then today in my drive, I was inspired. So I listened to the entire Doechii album. Now, if you don't know who Doechii is, make sure to listen. I think it's fire. She's so creative as an MC. She comes correct with the lyrics. It was just really cool to hear a different vantage point from some of the newer hip hop. And mad respect to her. She won a Grammy, came from nothing. But Lisa sent me this video and I thought it was really, really powerful. And my hope is that this message lands and I can serve this message some justice. So there was an interview. I forgot who the lady was. I'll share the video, but Oprah was interviewing a lady, and maybe Lisa can speak more to this. And on the cover, it said, unused creativity is not benign. Okay, that was the cover. And I said, okay, so what does this actually mean? So benign is not harmful, right? But it said unused creativity is not benign. It gets metastasized. And so I was like, okay, tell me a little bit more. I want to hear about this. She says that if it gets metastasized, it turns into grief, turns into judgment, turns into sorrows, turns into shame. And she states that we are divine human beings and we are creative by nature. But what happens along the way is that sometimes it gets shamed out of us, it gets shunned. People look at us and say, why are you doing that? Why are you so weird, Ashley? Why would you say that, Gary? Evangeline, why would you do that? Why would you be so dorky in public? Whatever it is, right? And so oftentimes that creativity gets shamed, gets shunned out of us. And we find ourselves not expressing the way that we naturally would. Why? Because somebody or society has told us not to. And until you guys can find that opportunity to just express and be free, and you guys will hear me say this until the end of my days, until that happens, you will not have freedom. You will not have freedom because you're always going to look over your shoulder and be like, oh my God. And you know who you experience this with? Look at your 14-year-olds. Look at your 13-year-olds that are super, super, super awkward. They don't know what to say socially. They're just, they kind of sit there, you shake their hands, say hello, hello. Like they just don't know how to express themselves yet. And then you see it happen. You see that it's like, I don't really care, right? My wife is like, oh my God, baby, we're so off the top. And she's like, she like shakes her head sometimes. And I'll never change. I'm sitting next to the Warriors president the other day at the game. Do you think that I sat there and like clammed up? No, I was busting jokes with the guy and having some fun and telling him to put me in as a player, even though I suck at basketball. But the thing is, like, unused creativity is not benign. It metastasizes. And I wanted to open it up with that because I thought it was a really, really powerful message. I'll make sure to drop that interview and drop that video down below, but I want to share that thought with you, that sentiment. Anybody have anything on that vein? Anybody want to contribute, say anything in regards to what I just shared? Anybody have anything? All right, cool. So let's go D Bledsoe. And then I see Lisa's face on, so hopefully she has a contribution because you were the one that inspired this messaging for this morning. So let's go D Bledsoe. D, you're up.
Yeah, no, my internet might go out on this road, so just let me know. But that speaks directly to what I'm reading right now, Daring Greatly, and it just talks about shame and how we allow shame to immobilize us, basically. Like you start adapting over the years to what people tell you can't do, or when people laugh at you, or anything that makes you feel adverse from how you're supposed to feel. That shame gets in the way of us achieving the things that we want to achieve. So just kind of get past it, create, do things, do shit, do what you.
I love it. Indeed, we lost you on the end of that, but the book, you guys, is Daring Greatly. I haven't read that book. I put that on. Ashley, it sounds like you've read that book before. Good stuff. Okay, cool. So if you're just tuning in, we started out with the sentiment of unused creativity is not benign. It gets metastasized. Lisa, did you have anything that you want to share on that messaging since I got that, that inspiration from the video you sent me yesterday?
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, to me, it kind of resonated also with like, just, for instance, you know, if you're not growing, you're dying, kind of sentiment. And then I have, you know, I have felt it, experienced it just in like my physical being, when just not, not keeping up with like just moving around, right? And um it it's so profound to see like when we're not moving forward. Sometimes I have felt like, okay, I've reached a certain spot and I could just chill. When I do that, that's when I not only lose momentum but go backwards.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to get back to where you were. So you just don't want to stop. You want to keep that ability to speak your mind, to be creative, and then you see like where it leads. It leads you to so many other beautiful spaces. So it's amazing.
I love it. Love it. I'm going to go to Ophelia in a moment, who has been somebody that has, just walked in her lane and just being expressive and being herself. But there was a time where she wasn't that comfortable that I remember, and not a so distant future. But has anybody ever told you that you're extra, that you're too much? Like, oh my God, Patrick, really? Do you dance like that every single time you go out? Like that is a gift. That is a gift. People see you dancing in the rain, dancing like nobody's looking. You ever been in a groove at a concert and the music is just filling your soul and you don't give a fuck who's around? Like, you would just dance until your heart's desire. That is expression at the highest form. And then you get back into your normal life and, hi, morning, Tom. Morning, Sally. How you doing? Great weekend, right? And it's like, then our dinosaur, like Glenn was talking about the other day, like our dinosaur gets subsided. So it's just like, allow that creativity to come out in all things that you do, and people will notice, I promise you. Ophelia, hit them with it, and then we're going to start talking about the market. Let's go, Ophi.
I love this because I just shared one of the most uncomfortable, awkward moments. That is me, right? I really put my foot in my mouth, and I think it was Glenn. He was sitting next to me, and I had just shared. I mean, it was pretty brutal. And one of the guys said, "Just say that you were being sarcastic. Maybe the other person will, shake it off." And Glenn's like, "No, you own it. You own that. You are you. Be authentically you." However, that authentically me is that short-term memory, and I would mess up a lot. So that was the biggest shame factor I had. I couldn't be me because I was so afraid of making mistakes. I was so afraid of making errors because I do. It's and I think I told you guys too, I have I didn't know, later on in life I learned the condition of transposing numbers was called dyscalculia, and I thought that was a made-up word, but it's a real thing. And I didn't know. So I grew up all these years thinking I was just really bad at math. Anyways, I said something horrible yesterday. I mean, just whatever. And I left thinking I could never be authentically me because I was shamed, because I'd make my parents look bad or I embarrassed people. I have the loudest laugh. If you guys ever around me, I don't care anymore how I laugh. I laugh hella loud. I'm not demure. No, I laugh. And that is freedom. That is so much freedom. Just own your mistakes, own who you are, and whoever wants to be around you will be around you. And I want to give a lot of credit to you, Elias, because honestly, you inspired me. And then Jess, she's loud as hell, just being in a room without opening her mouth. And then the other person that really inspired me was Daniela, marketing babe. I think she was the very first one that I was like, you could make mistakes and be okay. So that's my little 2 cents there.
Yeah, God, I absolutely love it. Really good stuff, you guys. I just want to share that with you because I was inspired. So one more time, unused creativity is not benign. It gets metastasized. And I'll make sure to drop that video before the end of our session. But let's get right into the conversation about the market. There's obviously tons of things that are going on in our market. But what I want to do is I wanted to talk to our lender partners first that are on the call. And I wanted to get your vantage point, because consumers are seeing this. And I wanted to hear from an expert on the lending side what your thoughts are about this. Now, we're seeing a lot of things happen in our industry, and I think we're going to see more and more of this. So if you guys don't know who Rocket is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, purveyors of mortgages in the United States of America. I think it's Rocket, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ashley, and UWM, United Wholesale Mortgage. And so when you think about Detroit and where these companies are housed, at one time in the 80s, Detroit was the manufacturing capital of the world for cars. And then when the car industry left Detroit, it left Detroit in complete disarray, let's say that. And so then now, per capita, the number one employer is mortgage industry. We're talking like 1 million square foot campuses that house, thousands and thousands of people. And so I think that this is a really big thing that's happening in our industry. And as you guys saw, if you're watching the news, last week or 2 weeks ago, Gary Keller Williams sold off a significant share in Keller Williams. Now, Keller Williams is a private company, but what does that mean moving forward? I'm really uncertain, but what I do know is that there's some huge things that are happening in the industry. Maybe Keller Williams goes public. Maybe Keller Williams sells parts of their company off and merges with another company down the road. Who knows? But there's a lot of moving of big money in our industry. So I wanted to start the conversation on Ashley and Jeff and anybody else that has an opinion on this. What are your thoughts on this? If you have any, this is a big move. Is it good for the industry? Is it bad for the industry? I would love to hear, Ashley, your vantage point on this. If you got an opinion, would love for you to share.
Oh, I'm gonna let Jeff chime in on this. I did read an article that I put the quote there in our chat. It says, because of the cross-sell energy, we see the price as better than what Redfin would likely be able to achieve on its own as a residential broker. So there's definitely big moves happening. There's emails going out saying, tell your partners that Redfin is after their business. So there's different opinions on this. I'll let Jeff.
All right, cool. So I appreciate that. And then Christine, I see your hand as well. So Jeff, I see the big smile on your face. Let's go, Jeff.
It's interesting. It's exciting. I mean, I don't want to say it's exciting, but when we see this type of stuff happen in the industry, and I mean, there's been quite a bit of consolidation over the last few years. Of course, the market's been tough. Smaller lenders, or even bigger ones that maybe weren't anticipating or didn't plan appropriately for the type of market we've been in. They end up, margins are small in mortgage, so you don't have a lot of room to make mistakes or a really long runway for these kind of markets. So consolidation has been happening. This is interesting though. One, I think it's a play in a couple different areas. One, it's a technology play. I mean, Redfin is a pretty big technology company from a standpoint of home search and everything. So I think it's a play in that regard. One thing that I don't know if people know this or not, or if they realize this is hyper local to us. Redfin owns Bay Equity Loans and owns a mortgage company. And I mean, they're part of Redfin. They have been for a couple of years now. And Bay Equity is a pretty good sized company. I mean, they're over $4 billion in fundings last year in 2024. So one of the things that I think has happened, like you mentioned with Rocket and then UWM, Elias, is those types of companies have been more on the wholesale or broker side of things. So they're not represented. And then call center, especially Rocket, they've been more of the call center, but they want a presence in distributed retail. They need and want a presence like Bay Equity or like the Money Store or like any other, these mortgage lenders out there. And it's difficult for them to just come to market with Rocket and get, people to buy into that. They think of that as a consumer direct. I'm going to call Rocket and I'm going to talk to somebody sitting in a cubicle in the Midwest, which doesn't play well for purchase. Plays well for refi, but not for purchase. So I think UWM is making, I don't know, we could see some entry into distributed retail or maybe changing their business model a little bit, as we go forward. And then, of course, Rocket making this entry. So the headline is Redfin, but more of the play could be getting, Bay Equity, getting some more distributed retail loan officers, and then, expanding that area, because we all know these last few years, it's about purchase. If you're living in refi, you're not surviving as a company, you're not surviving as a loan officer. So it's interesting, and we need more consolidation in the market. I don't want these big, huge companies like Rocket or UWM or some of the big box lenders to come in and start swallowing up other companies. But that's why Bay Equity went to Redfin. They just, were not in a financial position, and not a commercial for us at the Money Store, but the way that we're structured and the way that we're owned, we're kind of built for this market. We have a private owner that is, sits at the top of the house and doesn't take money out of the company. We don't have investors or, private equity money, that kind of a thing. So we don't have to perform at a certain level for an outside, party. So, and, Bay Equity probably did. Redfin saw an opportunity to cash in. So I think overall it's a good thing. It's exciting when we see this kind of movement. And I think this may spur some additional movement in the coming months for companies that, thought this was going to be over and we were going to be in a different market by now. So.
Yeah, I love what you said, Jeff. And I'm thinking about this. I think it's a move to have proximity to local consumers because what I think is that, you know, when we all think Rocket, we think like, all right, well, that's a really big company that's not local. Maybe they don't understand our local market. Then we think about somebody like Ashley or Christina. That's somebody that I can call, I can work with, I can see they're a part of my community. So I can see it from like a large business level, say, how do we get closer to the consumer? And so I think that this is a play to get closer to the consumer. Now, they don't really, I don't know if they really stand a chance with, you know, the relationship, but I think that's what they're trying to do is to really leverage those relationships and get closer in proximity to the consumer. So yeah, it's interesting to see. So I appreciate your sentiment. Let's go, Christina. Love to hear your vantage point on this as well. Let's go.
Hey guys, yeah, I was gonna say exactly what you're saying, Elias, is it's gonna go back to us providing that personal communication, that setting yourself apart from the rest, essentially taking it out of the corporate. Because when I talk to clients, sometimes they may have spoken to Rocket or they're like, oh yeah, I went to Citibank, 800 number, but then they're gonna call me and all of us on the team that work 7 days a week and we work until 9, 10 o'clock at night. They don't get that type of personal service with a company like Rocket. And so that's where keeping that personal touch where the client feels like they can call you and be like, I just got this disclosure. I have no idea what the heck this means. Can you explain it? And I'm always like, yes, of course. Right. So really, when I see things like this, I'm not, when I hear Rocket, it makes me cringe because the first thing I always think of is these buyers that get fooled a lot when they get told they're getting a rate and they're really not getting that rate. They're paying for it. Fees are off. So when I see this, I'm just like, it's what, to me, I'm just going to continue working to do what we all do and setting ourselves apart from the rest, and just like in real estate and mortgage. But really that personal service, and it just kind of pushes me to be more on my game and make sure our clients know they can come to us for everything.
Yeah, I love it. And it plays right into this conversation about being creative, you know, using your creativity to be human, to connect with people on a local level. And you know, when I think about myself, if we're in a market and we're going to the line and there's a line of people in the regular checkout where there's a human checking me out, but the self checkout is empty, I still wait in line. I wait in line just because I want to see somebody, I want to talk to somebody, I want to have that interaction. And so I just don't believe that we're there, you know, completely where we just don't want this human. Now, some people are going to go that route, and obviously it's worked for them as a big company, but, you know, I'm curious to see how this shakes out. So Lisa Torres, I'm going to go rapid fire with you, and then we're going to get right into another part of our conversation.
Yeah, just quick thought. So I know I've had people get pre-qualified with Rocket Mortgage and got approved almost $100,000 less than going with someone like Ashley or Christina, because they look deeper into the file, whereas Rocket is just very surface. So it's that that extra level of expertise that you're getting.
All right, good stuff. I appreciate that. Ash, let's go back to you. And by no means, because you know, I'm a neutral person, right? I look at the human connection and human development, but it's interesting to look at what's happening because this is going to impact us all and can impact us. So I always look at this from a neutral party and say, you know, how is this going to impact our industry long term? And so, Ashley, you have a contribution.
This is how I look at all of the internet lenders is that people are people, right? You're going to have some that are internet lenders that you get a great pre-approval and they're honest. What I have found is that some of them are not. And so you're going to have stories, well, this person was great and I really did get a good rate and it was perfect, but these people don't know you as a real estate agent. They don't have any skin in the game. They don't really care. So a lot of the time, depending on the agent or depending on the lender, they're just throwing things at the wall and trying to see what sticks. And they don't care if you really close on the deal, depending on who it is. And so I have seen, you'll see in the chat, we've all seen a lot of crazy stuff, not just from one company, but from lots of random companies who are internet lenders and are far away from the consumer, where there's a 14,000 fee that pops up right before closing, or they promised you that it was pre-underwritten and it's not. And so whoever it is, I would just encourage you to do your research regardless of the company and just make sure that you're trusting the person that is writing that pre-approval.
Right, that's right. So good stuff, you guys. If we have any questions, go ahead and ask them now before we move on. Jacob, you had something in the chat below. Ashley, I don't know if you saw that. Jeff, I saw inflation cool today. What does that mean for rates? Does anybody have an opinion on that?
Rates haven't moved too much today, but I did put a chart in there. They have consistently been going down over the last 5 or 6 weeks. So if you look at that chart, it is going up little by little, and then they'll have days where it goes down. When it's going up, that means rates are going down. So rates have been going down, going down, going down. Oh, they've gone up a little bit. But if you look at the overall trend, they are trending down. I've had clients that started at 7.125, now they're at 6.375. So they're definitely going down. We've seen pre-approvals. That means they are going up. I had one person get another $30,000 in pre-approval. So definitely, if you have old pre-approvals from people shopping, have them come back to us because they're probably approved for more than they were before.
Beautiful. I love that. Anybody else have any other thoughts, questions, contributions on this part of the conversation before we move forward? Going once, going twice. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and look at this. So obviously, consumers are going to have their reasons, whether they wait or whether they move forward. But I want to share something with you just internally so you can see this from our company standpoint. So when we look back in March of 2024, our total sold amount of volume was 36 million, which was a good month, but it's a slower month if you look at some of the other months. And then now when I look at where we are, somebody needs to put themselves on mute, please. Thank you. All right. When I look at where we're at right now for March, we're already at 45 million sold. So what it tells me is that year over year, despite what's happening with interest rates, Jacob, despite what's happening with inventory, we're still smoking the market year over year because you guys are writing good offers, you guys are communicating better, and that actually leads me to the next part of the conversation. So anticipated, yes, which means anticipated, okay, cool. So I want to bring this up to you, and I wanted to have a conversation about this because there might be something that you guys are doing that is different in the way that you are structuring offers. And yeah, still smoking, that's right. All right, so I wanted to share this with you. I'll put this article in the chat down below. That way you guys can see this, but it says 1 in 7 pending home sales are getting canceled. It's the highest share during this time of year on record. Now, when you look at this report, you guys are going to see the different cities, it's what's impacting this, so on and so forth. You'll see places like Atlanta getting hit really hard, 18.2 in Orlando. Las Vegas is really high. And then you go down here and you start to get into more of the Cali zip codes and areas. And you can see here, I think, let me cruise down. All right, so you have Oakland at 8.4. You have Sacramento at 13.9. You have San Francisco at 4.1. So these are some of the markets that are close to us. Now, wherever you are, I'm sure we can pull up your stats, but I want to know right now from you, like, is there something that you do when you write the offer, when you structure the offer? Is there something that you're doing to give that offer more stickiness? Are you submitting your EMD within 24 hours? Is there, are you removing contingencies? I just want to know, like, what is your formula right now? And here's how I want you to look at it. How many offers have you written in the last 90 days? And out of those offers written, how many are accepted, right? I want to know, like, is there something that you're doing right now that is separating you from the competition? And is there something in your offers that we can all learn from? So if you guys have been, please share. I want you guys to share your strategies, what is working. Also, share with us what is not working, and maybe someone on this call has a thought or suggestion for you. Make sense, everybody? All right, cool. Get involved in this conversation if you're writing. And Mama-san, you just got in the contract. So I'm sure you have something to provide on this. I'll come to you in a moment. Let's go, George. George got done freezing his balls off today in whatever. The cryotherapy chamber. So let's go, George.
Yeah, it's right over there. See?
Exactly.
I'm doing the leg compression right now, you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, so what's been working for me, not just recently, but the last year, is definitely connecting with the listing agent. I think right now it's more important than ever, especially because a lot of the conversations on a lot of the properties that I've recently gotten into contract on a lot of the agents are saying that I'm actually probably one of the only agents that had actually reached out to them or even talked to them. So I think what's worked for me is definitely breaking the bread. Like yesterday, I spent 30 minutes on the phone with a listing agent who's in Arizona for I think it's a spring open, and just getting to know her more actually broke down her walls, and she was actually giving me a lot more information. And when I've done that recently, the agent yesterday and the two that are closed so far this year, they've all told me, like, you know what? I'm actually going to call you back or let you know anytime another offer comes because I really like you. So with that being said, something also that I've been implementing in all of my offers, because I don't want that to happen to my offers where the agent is building rapport with someone else and then sharing all of my info, is I've been putting the confidentiality and non-disclosure addendum in all of my offers. It basically shields your offer from being leveraged by any agent. And technically, if they do leverage your offer, it can technically be a lawsuit. So another thing as well, I have actually, if your buyer's putting in 10% as a down payment or 20%, I've been putting anywhere between 5 to 10% down as the EMD to be wired in within 24 hours of offer acceptance. Contractually, your EMD is protected up to about max 3%. So you're pretty good. And it shows you're pretty serious too. And also another thing that has been working is really getting, or in my buyer consultations, is really telling the buyers the importance of getting fully underwritten approved. That way they're not giving the lender an objection like, oh no, I don't want to do that. No, this is why we're going to do that. And this is what I've done with previous clients or past clients, because this is what's going to shorten down your timelines, especially as the market is picking up depending on where you're at. So that's definitely the strategy that I've used in last year. Just used it recently with Stephanie Sayhoff in the Money Store, and actually with the buyers getting underwritten approved, we actually closed on, or well, Stephanie on the loan side closed it in 13 days with a Cal Halfa FHA. They had limited funds, and not only that, but also I think it's great to really work with a lender that will reach out to the listing agent and really talk up your client, because it actually turned out that the listing agent just did another deal like a month or two ago with Stephanie. So having the lender reach out is also like a big thing too. So
I love this. I love this. Really good stuff. Stephanie, on that vein, did you want to contribute anything? Since it directly brought you in on this one, anything that you have to share?
Yeah, sure. I think from the lending perspective, it's really important that we connect with the listing agent as well. I always call, introduce myself, and kind of try to build that rapport with them. I vouch for the client. They want to know that they're in good hands, right? Because there's a lot of lenders out there that just issue pre-quals and haven't actually looked at anything. And so I have had listing agents ask me too, so this means you've actually looked at their credit, right? You've looked at their income docs. And I'm thinking, of course, like I issued a pre-approval, right? But they know they've probably been burned in the past. So really important that your lender calls the agent, connects with them. And sometimes we just happen to know the agent, right? We've worked with them before. So reputation is huge in this industry. It's everything for us, right? But definitely have your lender connect with them, vouch for your client, get them fully underwritten, knock out all the easy stuff. I'm very transparent with the listing agent. Hey, I've gotten them fully pre-approved. Everything looks great. Buyer solid, great work history. They have the funds. I reiterate where the funds are coming from. If they're getting a gift, dad's got the money, he's giving them a gift, or they have the money in the bank, we're ready to go, boom, boom. And I'm very confident when I speak with them so that they know they can trust me.
Yeah, God, I absolutely love this. I think that just being conscious of what's going on, whether it's Trump talking about tariffs, whether it is, information about the, insurance, obviously that's impacting us, but just being able to be conscious, because let's say you're, 2 days after you submit your EMD, and then a consumer sees on the market, economic slowdown because of tariffs and things that are rising and all these things. And like all of a sudden the consumer starts to get fearful and like, oh my God, did we make the right decision? Buyer's remorse. Oh my God, our down payment. So being conscious allows you to be able to talk about things that consumers are probably thinking about and not shy away from that conversation, because a lot of times these deals are salvageable, but we're communicating with the consumer too late. And the last thing I want you to do is do all that work and then get 5 days, 7 days, and the consumer's like, oh my God, I'm freaked out. right? Like we should be able to at least try to mitigate that by communicating with them, communicating with the lender, communicating with the other side. Very, very thorough. So really good stuff. I appreciate that, Stephanie. Mama San, don't go too far. I'm going to go to Kelly Hilker. Kelly, what is your contribution on this topic?
So recently I wrote an offer for a couple in Morgan Hill. I had done the open house and I obtained these buyers through the open house. They wanted to come in at 1.5. The asking price at this home was 1.6. I'm like, this is not going to fly. This is a hot commodity. You know, there were 25 people that came through the open house. There's going to be multiple offers. Like, we need to strategize here. So I was able to convince them to come up to at least asking price. And then also negotiated for them to pay my compensation, as well as removed all contingencies and had a 10-day close. And unfortunately, there were 11 other offers. They ended up taking an all cash offer for $250,000 over asking price. So I did the best I could. You know, I got them to come up, you know, and negotiated to the best of my abilities, but ultimately, you know, they were at their max and it just wasn't the right home for them. So,
you know, here's the thing that I look at. I look at this as opportunity, knowing that there was 11 other offers. We know that it's a super competitive area. That's where I would put my shoes on and door knock. Right? You know that it's a competitive area. There's 11 other people or 10 other people heartbroken that they can't live in that community. Hey, Evangeline. Hey, Joanne. Hey, Patrick. Who wants to hit the pavement and start, you know, door knocking this neighborhood because there's an immediate need, right? And you don't have to lie to a consumer. I hate the script like, oh, I have a buyer. Well, yeah, let's schedule a listing appointment and then I have to see the house first. It's weak, right? You actually know that there's buyers in that market. You just want to see if somebody's willing to sell their house off market. You'll make it a seamless transition for them. You'll bring the buyer right in. And so I would go door knock that neighborhood. Get a partner and go door knock, and door knock as well as send a mailer. Pick, you know, 50 homes. It's not going to cost you that much. Do an 8x5 jumbo postcard and be like, hey, moving on up, not quite. I have a consumer that would love to live in this community and they're having a hard time finding a house. Have you ever thought about putting your house on the market? I'll make it a seamless transition. If you're open to at least having the conversation, contact me at this number below or hit this QR code to schedule a time to talk strategy, right? See what happens. See what happens. So Kelly, I appreciate that. Let's go. Yeah, you got it. Mama San, what's good? You just got into contract yesterday.
Yes, last night. Yep. So
All
this
right.
client, I've written 4 offers over 2 weeks, anywhere ranging from 6 to 11 offers in each of those scenarios. This one with a 12-day close of escrow, 25% down, non-contingent. But one of my strategies I've done, and I do with a lot of my other offers, is have 3 different offer prices already signed and ready to go, you know, in order of least to most. So we submit the lowest one first. But, you know, when it's coming down to crunch time and like numbers are moving fast and maybe need to have a higher number, we're already ready with all 3 signed offers ready to submit, depending on which one we need to submit. That makes sense.
Ooh, okay. All right. So you've already had this pre-strategy call with your buyers saying we're going to enter at this number and you said you're waiting for, does that mean that you're telling them you're waiting for a counter and then you're going to submit your next one? Like, how do you have that conversation with your buyer?
Yeah, if we need to have that, you know, if there is a counter, we'll have that already ready. But the strategy is let them know, okay, here, this is the price range. We'll start low. Here's the high, here's the mid. Let's start low. If we need a counter, we'll already have this ready. You don't have to sign anything in between work, and we're, you know, it's time, crunch time. And so you're already prepared to deliver the highest or best or whatever we need to do.
Wow, I absolutely love this. Like, I love how proactive that approach is. So it's just like, we don't have to go and prepare everything. It's already ready, right? It's already ready to go out and DocuSign. Okay, so let's talk about non-contingent. For this last offer, where'd you get a not offer accepted? What part of the Bay?
Oakland.
Oakland, what part of Oakland?
Piedmont Pines.
Okay, so obviously super, super competitive area. So what was the conversation and how did you come to the decision as a collective to remove the contingencies?
Basically, I mean, first of all, going through all of the disclosures and make sure that is, safe to do, making sure that we're going to be appraised, the appraised value is going to come in, and making sure that their loan is going to go through. We already know that they're strong buyers. You got to vet your buyers.
So how much over asking did they write?
400K.
So that's not going to appraise. So they're cool covering it in cash.
Yeah, they're willing to cover that too.
Okay. Wow.
Every client, right? But in this case, luckily they have the ability to do that.
Okay, cool. I love the you know what? I love the strategy of the 3 different offers already prepped, ready, and prepared. That means that you've already mentally got them into the game to say, hey, we're going to start here, but we may have to go to our stretch. What is your stretch? What can you afford? What does it really mean to you to walk away from this house or to have this house? Right? And a lot of times, like 400,000, okay, well, if I'm not planning on moving within the next 5 years and I'm going to hold, then I know I'm going to get into positive equity. If you say you want to move into San Diego in 3 years, then don't buy this property. It's not going to make sense if you're going 400,000 over.
Exactly. And also showing, like, from the last 3 properties that we didn't get, we might just have to keep, going up a little bit more in price, because if we didn't get that last one, what's going to happen is everything in that area, the price point is going to just continue to go up. And if we wait later, we're going to have to be paying more. So it's just like, do you want to get in now, spend a little bit more if you can, or, do we wait till later? But these buyers are ready, just motivated and really wanted this house.
This is really good, you guys. I would highly recommend, and this is high level. When you're out showing a bunch of homes with a consumer, especially in this really, really, demanding price point, keep a spreadsheet and show them what the list price was, what it sold for, and how many offers on each of those. So if you ever need to have a strategy session like that, like, all right, let's just go back and look at the last 25 houses that we've seen. And I put together some data that way you can see what they listed at, what they sold at, what they listed at, sold at. That way, it's not you telling them, the consumer sees the data and like, wow, okay, 11 offers there, 12 offers there. So your offer at list price, do you think that that's an offer that's going to win based on what you see? Well, no. All right. So let's strategize, because I want to write a winning offer for you and I want to get you guys the home. So really good stuff, Mama San. I love this. Kelly, you had a question. Was it for Andrea?
No, I wanted to ask a question about the highest and best. The other day, George made a video about, the highest and best. And I was taught that with the listing am I okay to go on this? Okay.
Yeah, go.
With the listing, as long as we disclose to every agent what the highest and best was, that's okay, that you will not be, penalized through the Association of Realtors. Am I correct on that?
George, you want to speak to this?
Yeah, no. So technically, no. If the person puts that addendum in, if you end up disclosing it and it is found out, that other agent can actually report you to the DRE, because I actually already did it last year. My clients submitted an offer. They went to the open house, and the listing agent did not even bother opening my email to see that was in there, which was on him. And my clients overheard him giving everything about their offer. So it basically puts a cloak over your offer.
But I thought as long as we disclosed it to all interested parties, all agents, that as long as everybody was aware of the highest and best, that it was okay. As long as I wasn't like pick and choosing to tell certain people, as long as I disclosed it to all parties, that it was allowed.
No, if they have that confidentiality addendum in their offer, you cannot even say. You can just say, you know what, the offer we do have. I can tell you the second highest offer. However, the offer does not. I can't even tell you the terms or anything. So I mean, they have a confidentiality, and I can't disclose that, because if you as the listing agent, let's say, because what I do just to test it out is when I do submit an offer, I have another agent call the listing agent and ask, hey, what's your highest and best offer? What offers do you have on the table to test it out? So you don't want to be that one agent that you gave away somebody else's information when they had that addendum, and they have their assistant call you. And then they have their assistant. And then if they have their assistant call you saying that they're a different agent or just trying to figure it out, then, I mean, you just violated their confidentiality and non-disclosure addendum, because in that addendum, it basically says the selling agent and the seller cannot disclose the name of your clients, their offer price, or any of the terms. And also, if it's a 1031 exchange, from what I found out from personal experience, I believe they do have to count it out. Or if you're a listing agent and you're doing a 1031 exchange, it's best for you to actually counter that out of the buyer's offer, because in a 1031 exchange, all of the information is going around that there is a possibility that it does get shared. Otherwise, if you're listing a 1031 exchange situation and their information gets out there, well, you just violated the confidentiality and non-disclosure addendum.
Okay.
Yeah, really good stuff. And Kelly, what I would do is if you're going to write an offer and you're just uncertain on the strategy, on the flow, just hop in Karina's room, and just ask her, hey, I'm putting together this offer. What's your best advice here? Just to make sure that we are, doing what's right and keeping ourselves out of trouble. Mama San, let's go back to you.
Actually, one other thing, strategy to this last one that we just won. We actually we beat out the two other top offers by 10,000. So also by writing an offer that's a little bit different than everybody else's. Everybody's always going to write 1.5 or 1.3. But if you write like 1.51, which we actually won the offer by, because there was two other offers at 1.5 as well. But we were just 10,000 over 1.51, and that's how we won it. So not always just writing your offer at like, a number that everybody's going to write at, right? Just something a little bit over, just to get, that over, to be maybe something that's really close. And that's ultimately how that won. And that wasn't nice. It was actually the lowest of the three offers that we had, ready to go. But that little one tick up just won the offer. So that's another strategy, guys.
I love it. I love it. Really good stuff. Lisa Torres, let's go back to you, and then we're going to start wrapping sesh. All right, cool. We're going to move on, you guys. So,
sorry. My question was for George. So, when you reached out to DRE, did they? What happened? Because I was always told that the confidentiality form is only valid if the seller signs off on it.
Well, they do sign off on it actually, no, they're putting it with your offer. So, I learned about it through my old brokerage, basically sharing all of the offers that they got. And then I remember there was a EXP agent that submitted that addendum. And technically I remember them being like, you know what, we can't say that offer even exists. You can just say that we have an offer, but one of them has a confidentiality addendum. And then you would I reached out to the DRE, and then I let the agent know that I reported them to the DRE. I actually didn't even follow up with it because my clients ended up not moving forward on the house. They actually ended up, it actually scared the hell out of the agent that the agent actually removed the listing from the market.
Okay.
All right, really good stuff, you guys. We're going to stop that conversation there. Any more information, you need any strategy, make sure to go to Karina's room, as well as your broker level support from EXP, to make sure that you are doing what is in line. So really quick, you guys, before we start to close session and get some takeaways, wanted to remind everybody about this. And yes, I am an Eventzilla. I will say it over and over and over again until the room is packed and we have a wonderful time. If you are part of Keep It Moving group coaching, you are invited. And if you want to bring a friend, then bring a friend as well. If you have not RSVP'd, do that now. We are already at 71 people RSVP'd and 11 people have a +1. So it is shaping up to be quite the party. Our very own Ricky Johnson is going to spin records for us. We're going to have some fun. So if you have not RSVP'd, please go and RSVP. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about this when I see you guys here in person today. So if you are going to be here 1 to 3, I'm looking forward to sharing some time with you and sharing some thoughts and, getting on the phones and scripting everything we're going to do. But just as I ask you to have a CRM, to follow up, to have a cadence, to have a flow, to have a prospecting system, I require that of myself as well. anything that we're going to do for the company, we always have to look at, well, how does growth play into that, right? If we're not actively growing our team, then we will get to a point of stagnation, which is never going to be okay as you're building and you're growing and retain dollar as a company, all the things from like a company side of it. And so I want to share this with you because the reason I'm sharing this with you is that I want to hold myself accountable as I hold you guys accountable to using your CRM and making sure that you're tracking all of your efforts. So I have a CRM, but my CRM looks a little bit different. My CRM is for, attracting agents. And so just like you guys, I'm making recruiting calls. Okay, so here's all the follow-up calls. Here's all the emails that I sent out yesterday. Here's the follow-up, here's the appointments that I've booked. And so when I'm asking you guys to work your database, follow up, work the system, you guys know that on the back end, I'm doing this myself. And I'll just give you a quick example of what something like this would look like. Like I sent this email out yesterday and it's a very simple message. And I sent it out to a group of people, right? And if I look at this group of people, here's the people that opened it. Now I could see who the people are. And if I want to go and call those people and I could say, hey, Andrea, sent you an email yesterday. I know you took a look at it, wanted to follow up and see if you're open to having a conversation about what partnership with Fast Real Estate looks like. And then I could look and say, well, this person opened my email 3 times. Why? This person opened the email 3 times. Why? So when I ask you guys and I tell you guys to get into your database, to have a system, have a flow, have a cadence, have people that you're reaching out to and prospect, I'm prospecting too. So I'm not asking you guys to do anything that I'm not willing to do, and I'm not going to systematize myself. So as you guys are building and prospecting lead generation, I want to let you guys know that I'm doing the same thing. When we're doing database days and call dialing and you guys are calling prospects, I'm going to be calling as well, right? I'm not going to ask you to do a bunch of things that I'm not willing to do, to face adversity, to face rejection, dead in the face. I'm willing to do that with you guys to show you that, hey, I'm right here in the trenches with you guys. Let's roll up our sleeves and let's grow together. So I want to share that with you. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but let's go around the room, get a couple key takeaways before we end our session today. Patrick, one key thought and key takeaway from our time together today. We'll go Glenn, one key thought, one key takeaway from our day.
Good morning, guys. One key takeaway is relationships really do win offers. It's all about how you build it up, how you build your offer, and it's not just the paperwork. It's you selling the clients to the listing agent. Like, they really love the place. They're going to take care of it because I don't know who said it, but it's definitely, they just want to know that the property or the home will be taken care of and that it's going to be a seamless, easy transaction. So relationships.
Yeah, I love it, Patrick. Glenn, let's go to you.
Yeah, Mama San said, I love the way that she kind of braces her clients for what's coming next, right? Not just assuming that it's one and done, but this is what could happen, and here's how I'm preparing that for you. Like that's just awesome. So thank you.
Yeah, really good stuff. You guys, if you can, go to the chat before we close out, grab those 2 articles, read those articles, understand what's going on, and just be a student, right? Be a student. We should constantly be aware of what's going on because we are the broadcasters and the digital mayors of what is happening in the real estate market. It's our responsibility to really understand this information and deliver it to our clients because we know that the clients are watching the news or hearing from their friends. So be that person that is the voice of the village, right? And Gary Archer said that to me the other day, like be the voice of the village, meaning that you're the person that is sharing what is happening and what's going to impact your village and your tribe. So you guys, really, really powerful session today. I appreciate all the contributions at a very high level. If you're going to be here today, you're going to be here. Look forward to seeing you guys. We're going to pack the room. We're going to have some fun and really appreciate it. So if you want to bring a friend today, bring a friend. As always, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision, and don't ever take that lightly, and have an amazing, amazing Wednesday. Peace.